Hey guys, welcome to Jeep Sheep TV. Today we're going to review a flashlight from Amazon. Wow! Alright you guys, this is actually a really exciting time for the channel Jeep Sheep TV because this is the first time that someone's actually reached out to us and asked us to do a product review. So that's cool. So yeah, basically what happened was I got an email from some lady saying, hey, I saw your YouTube channel. We have this flashlight we'd like you to review. All you need to do is drop in your social security number and we'll send you a free flashlight. So I totally did. No, that's not what happened at all. There was a much safer version of money transfer for me to purchase the flashlight and do the review for you today. So yes, did I get the flashlight for free? I did. Does that make me biased? We'll see. Okay, let's just jump right in. What we have for you today is the Sanlinkee Rechargeable Spotlight LED Spotlight Flashlight Super Bright 6,000 lumens handheld spotlight 9,600 milliamp long-lasting large flashlight searching outdoor waterproof flood camping flashlight by Samyang. It looks like this. This is clearly I believe it'd be like a Chinese-made flashlight. If you look on Amazon, you can see there's like 4 of them that are identical from different manufacturers. But there's a link down below to this particular manufacturer that was kind enough to send this to me for free. So I encourage you, if you decide at the end of this to buy this flashlight, to use that link specifically. Okay. Without further ado, we're going to jump into the unboxing so you can see how this thing is packaged and what to expect. Nothing flashy, just a plain box. Okay, looks like a charging apparatus for 12 volt car. Here's that fancy tripod that they tease in the photos. Oh, it clicks. Double buttons. Okay. That's interesting. Not the highest quality plastic, but it's going to be nice and lightweight for travel. So I suppose that's okay, as long as it holds up. I do like this option though. It stays in place pretty well. Okay, get to more of that later. Alright, we'll do the best part last. We'll get to, looks like a strap of some kind. It's charging a wall outlet. Oop, something's loose in there. And then we got a manual. Probably don't need to read through that right now. Flashlight itself. Okay, let's see, is it charged? Oh, there's a side light. I wasn't expecting that at all. Oh, and it dims. Cool. And maybe the other button is, boom, it comes charged. Okay, let's jump real quick into the functionality of this flashlight. There's a few things that this does that I find very impressive, especially for the near $40 price point. The first one being that you've got 2 buttons instead of 1, and the first button turns on this, which is probably blowing up my camera, turns on this side light. And what's nice about this is you can set this guy down and you can light up your work area. It's got another setting for saving battery, and then if you press and hold, maybe, there you go, it does the questionably illegal looking police light. But they advertise this as something you can put on the side of the road. So say your car broke down, it's very dark, you can set this on the ground next to your car and at least alert some drivers that something's happening here. Even though this might be a semi-illegal color set, it is possibly going to save you from any collisions. The second one is the main spotlight, which is the bottom button you click and it's quite bright, and then you click again and it's less bright, and then you press and hold and it does a strobe feature. Every LED flashlight on Amazon or whatever has to have a strobe feature. I don't know why. I don't know what you use this for, but you gotta have it. So this one's got it too, don't worry. The next feature that I'm really impressed with is on the back here. If you peel this back, you have your charging port which charges at just under 5 volts, so that's what this runs on. But then it's got a USB port, which you can technically charge this through, so I'm told, but you didn't get a cord to do so in this kit. I did see other identical flashlights that had a USB charging cord, but this one doesn't seem to have it. However, if you take a USB cord and plug it in here, you can charge other devices like cell phones and flashlights, which I find pretty cool. Got a little USB cable right here. Plug that in, and then this is a headlamp style flashlight, and it's rechargeable. So why don't we go ahead and see if we can get it to start charging. You can probably see that the little red light turned on, which means that it is charging. This next feature is probably my favorite. So this right here is a little handheld doohickey that opens up into a tripod. And this comes with it. And it's got your standard thread on here as you would use in a tripod for cameras or audio equipment or whatever. And you take your flashlight and you just screw that in there. Once that's screwed in there, you've got your flashlight, you can set it, it sits upside down. And then this was designed cleverly enough to have a locking feature so you can adjust it. You can move it freely one way and lock it the other way. What I like about that is a lot of times when you're camping or say you're stuck on the trail, you have to do trailside repairs or even roadside repairs on your vehicle, having a light that you can position in a favorable way is pretty convenient. And what's kind of nice about this too is we talked about putting this on the side of the road for like a safety measure where you've got this flashy light. You can have both on at the same time. And so you can be notifying oncoming drivers while you're illuminating the car that is broke down and you're trying to get that fixed. What else is neat about that is since that is a standard thread for cameras and other similar things, you could just stick that standard screw thread in there and you could fasten your camera to the top of the flashlight if you so choose. In doing so, you could walk around in a darkish room and turn on that flashlight, and then your camera's moving wherever the flashlight's pointing, which is pretty cool. Quick draw. Another more common but also worth noting feature is the charging ability. As I said before, I've seen some models with a USB charge. This one, however, comes with a 12 volt for the car and 110 for the house. These are fairly standard, but it is nice to know you have the option to charge in the car. As I've mentioned before, this would be a good flashlight to have in your vehicle or trail rig. Now, I think it's fairly safe to say that I may be sold on this flashlight. It's pretty cool, but the fact that I paid nothing for this flashlight really does set it apart as high in value to me. But that's really not fair to you as a consumer, so why don't we just take some of the things that they claim to do and we'll test the flashlight against that. For example, they claim to have 6,000 lumens of output. The other one is the distance that it shoots a light is 2,600 feet. The first test that we are going to do is the waterproofness test. The reason why I want to do this one first is because if it doesn't break right away, maybe during some of the other tests, the water will seep in and kill it. Okay, Tess, don't break my heart here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to turn on the side light and we're gonna turn on the front light. We'll do it at full brightness because why not? And then I've got just a little bit of water here. We're going to dribble this on top. We're not gonna submerge it because a lot of things that claim to be waterproof are not necessarily submerge proof. We're just gonna pour water on this as if we're in a really heavy rainfall. Ah! All right, no flickering, no nothing. I can shake it up. But this is interesting. Listen to that. You can hear and see water coming out through the seams. So it's, sure, it might be waterproof in the fact that the electronics are not getting all screwed up, but there's definitely water in there. It is not watertight. Keep that in mind. Now, as these tests go on, we're going to keep it with that water in there because I want to know if this is left in my Jeep for a prolonged period of time and it does get wet like this, I want to know that it's going to start up and it's going to work for me every single time I use it. Test all the functionality here. All right, so far so good. Let's talk really briefly about the construction of this flashlight. The body has what appears to be an aluminum casing, which is important for LEDs. They do not like getting hot, so aluminum is good for dissipating the heat. The lens itself, you can unscrew, and then you can get to that light inside. And when you do this, you can see that they actually did use a piece of glass for the lens, which is very nice. And actually it's quite thick. This assembly appears to be sealed, but it's not. There we go, and water did get inside of there. And then there's your LED. The plastic itself doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary or fancy. It could be like an ABS or something similar to that. It does appear to be something that might be a little bit more brittle, so I would caution against dropping this maybe on concrete. But again, a lot of flashlights are going to be like that without getting into some of the more interesting material selection. I don't believe that they claim that it's shockproof, so there's that. Now, I don't have a lux meter, but what I do have is I have a multimeter and I have a solar panel. And if I use my phone flashlight here and I'm shining on that solar panel, we're looking at somewhere in the ballpark of 5.8 volts. Now, I do also have this here Jeep. Now with the Jeep headlights on and the camera light off, I repositioned this to get the full impact of one of the headlights. And you can see up here that we're at 13.53 volts. Now this is technically rated for a 12 volt circuit, and so this could just be maxed out. But let's see if we can get higher than 13.5 using the flashlight. Now from roughly the same distance away, utilizing this nifty tripod, I've got it fixed on that solar panel, and we're seeing a slightly lower 12 volts coming out of this. Now if I got closer to it, I would see that 13.5, and I can demonstrate that right like that. And that, I'm assuming, is maxing this thing out, because it doesn't seem to go beyond that 13.59. Another factor is the lens on the flashlight's getting a little bit fogged, as there's some condensation in there from the water test. But that is, again, part of the testing. So the conclusion of this is that it is underperforming a Jeep headlight. A lot of car headlights are typically rated around the 2000 lumen range. So for this to be 3 times that, I think is kind of a far-fetched claim. But for a $40 flashlight, I'm not necessarily disappointed. 6000 lumens is really hard to achieve even with the high dollar lights. Those lights over there, that's a school building. That is roughly 1/10 of a mile away, and this light claims to be able to cast a beam somewhere in the ballpark of 1/2 a mile. So I should be able to illuminate the side of the school with ease, if that's true. Hey, what do you know? That actually works really, really well. Now, like I said before, it makes the claim that it can go 5 times this distance. And honestly, the way that it lit that school up, I might be willing to believe them. All right, you guys, it's time for the big question. What are my final thoughts on this flashlight? Would I recommend that we buy it? Well, like I said before, I'm a little biased because I got this guy for free, but if you take the price point, which is somewhere in the ballpark of $40, and you take the number of options that this thing has, whether it be the 2-function light on the side, 2-function light on the front, the option to do the police light and the strobe, as well as this pretty cool kickstand, and the shoulder strap, and then 2 different ways to charge, as well as using it as an additional battery pack. Honestly, the design alone of this tells me to tell you that this is a definite buy, even if it's just to have in your car for emergencies only. Would I take this on a really hardcore trip where I think it's going to be falling down and submerged often? Probably not. Some of the things that it says it can do, such as the waterproof or even the 6000 lumens, we saw those kind of fell short, as it still works after being covered in water for a little while. It did have water intrusion, the lens is fogging up, I could feel water in there, and that is going to lead to problems in the future. And then the 6000 lumens, really we can't hold this against them other than just poor advertising. 6000 lumens is an incredible amount, more than most car headlights. Also, let's not forget that this has been sitting in my garage. It's been on for a while. It's cold out here. I just covered it in water. It's still got some water inside of it, and it casts a beam 1/10 of a mile like an absolute champion. And I have no doubt that it could go further, maybe even to that half-mile mark where they specified it could go. I would definitely buy this and I'd put it in your car or in your truck, especially like a trail rig. This is going to be very friendly to me in situations where I have to work on my Jeep. They gave me a free flashlight and I'm going to tell you to buy it because it actually is a decent product. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like videos like this, hit the subscribe down below. I don't always do product reviews, but I can, so let me know if it's something that you like. This has been Liam on Jeep Sheep TV.